So today, we're going to talk a little bit about rigor. I hope this goes well. Technology-wise, this is presented on Zoom before, but this is a little bit different with various people attending. Well, what we're going to do is today we're going to talk about rigor. I don't want to come across first saying that I'm not an expert in rigor, but I have learned a lot about rigor over the course of the past few years. And I know when I first started teaching, I definitely was not providing rigor in my classroom, but hopefully today I'm doing a much better job of that. So as we go through this session, if you have any information you'd like to come back, feedback, please do that in the chat. I'll try and get back into the chat where I can view it. Hopefully my host will be able to get in soon. Anything you want to relate to criminal justice or rigor, please do so. And you know, our goal is to improve our pedagogy. That's our goal, is to improve our pedagogy, focus on rigorous classroom instruction. I don't know about you, but I'm excited to get back in the classroom, even though I've enjoyed being at home this summer. We got a newborn baby, so I've enjoyed doing that, being with her, and her name is Abigail Jane, and we are excited about having that. And of course, if I seem like I'm going to fall asleep in the middle, that's because we do have a newborn baby at home during this. So hopefully I will stay awake. Hopefully you will too. Now this is, even though this is 2 parts, there's criminal justice 1, criminal justice 2, I'm kind of aligned them together. It just worked out better that way and what we're doing. I would like us to share lessons and different things. I'm going to probably unmute here in a minute as soon as I figure it out how. Hopefully it won't take too long. So I got the screen share. I'm going to escape here a little bit so I can go back and make sure everything is working out appropriately. Because I cannot see any of you, but I'm sure hopefully you can see me. So, let me see if I can get back in here. I'd like to be able to see who all's in. Don't know who my room host is or if they're available. Let's move on into this lesson. So, one thing we want to cover is myths about rigor. I know there's myths or beliefs about rigor and what's actually there. We want to cover those and get in a good understanding of what some of the myths that may occur, things that may be talked about rigor. We also want to get a good definition of rigor. Do we have a good understanding of it, what it actually is? Then we're going to cover tips on improving rigor, and this is where many of y'all can help out. We also want to focus in on, hopefully do some lesson sharing and a little bit of feedback toward the end. So a little bit about rigor myths. One thing is that it's more classwork or homework. That is, while there may be more classwork and homework, that is not define rigor. You can just simply give him more work or more homework involved doesn't exactly define rigor. So we know that's not it. Another myth is that it's not for everyone. If you really know the definition of rigor, you know that it is for everyone. A lot of people that say, well, it's just not for all my students. Well, it's because they really don't understand what rigor is. Not providing support or assistance. While we do know that just not providing our support or assistance to our students, while that may be challenging, it doesn't necessarily provide what the students need. You know, our goal as teachers is to educate each child, make sure they understand, and to guide them. We're supposed to guide them through the process. Another thing about myth about rigor is more resources. You know, it doesn't mean you have to have a plethora of resources. It's good to have resources. Resources are important. You know, some of the greatest resources are inside your head, but more resources are important. Teaching standards only. While I do understand standards-based grading is very important, there are a lot of things out there that aren't in our standards that we do need to educate our children, our students on. And you know, there is a thing in education that it's rigor is just another thing we do. We do have a lot of paperwork we have to do. There's a lot of checks in the boxes, you know, a lot of acronyms we fall for, but we use, but you know, it's not just another thing to do. It's about our students, about them learning. So what I like to do, and this is going to be difficult, may stop sharing this so I can get to the polls. I'm trying to find who my room host is. I'm really hoping y'all can hear me, because otherwise I'm just talking to myself. But I want you to look over these. Which of the following, in your opinion, is the best definition of rigor in education? None of these are incorrect. These are all correct. I got them from good academic websites, but just look over these. I'm going to upload the poll in a minute. I'm going to see if I can find my room host. It's got me as a host, but it was supposed to be someone else coming in. And see if we can actually just look over these and determine which one you think, in your opinion, is the best definition of rigor. I'll give you a minute to look over that, and then we'll do the poll. Looks like most of y'all, the ones that voted, went on number 2. The term rigor is widely used by educators to describe instruction, schoolwork, learning experiences, and educational expectations that are academically, intellectually, and personally challenging. Now we look at these definitions, and it's see if it'll let me move forward. We've done the quick poll. There's a lot of common themes between these. You know, there's learning experiences and educational expectations are academically, intellectually, and personally challenging. Learning experiences are educational expectations that are academically, intellectually, and personally challenging. Those are two, you know, it's about challenging students. And the next part is the higher levels, on a higher level of thinking. This can be difficult, especially, we'll go in a little bit more detail how you have various students in your classroom on their very different levels. And we'll talk about a little bit more of that in the future, but you know, it is about challenging students academically, intellectually, and on a personal level. So we're going to watch this video. What I want you to do, I'm going to try, and we may just get out of this for a little bit. I'd like to see y'all, or maybe I'm just going to unmute it so we can talk about it after the video, but just watch this video. And what you do is just take any notes of what you notice about rigor. And we'd like to come back and talk about it and discuss examples of rigor, what this rigor actually is. And I got my host, I believe, is joining now.
Hey, Jeremy, sorry, just got here, man.
Thanks. But we're gonna watch this video, and I'm just gonna go ahead and play it. And just, you know, anything you see, anything important, anything that really stands out to you, and even things you do in your classroom, point out, hey, I do this in my classroom, it really works. It really is important. This is how it benefits my students, anything in that. And I'm just going to play this, and please, thumbs down if you cannot hear it. Hopefully you can all hear the video. Please let me know if you cannot.
Whether they are presenting their portfolio of artwork,
So the pressure launches is out.
or using a spud gun to test a projectile motion equation for a pre-calculus project.
Before we shoot it, we're able to calculate how far it's going to go.
Yes Prep North Central students do things with the knowledge they acquire.
In terms of ensuring rigor, it's a question that we've always struggled with, and I hope we always continue to struggle with, because I never want any of our instructors to be satisfied with the level of rigor. I want us always to be thinking of ways that we can push the kids more and more.
But if this is where Christopher Columbus landed, then what can we guess, or what can we assume?
Yes Prep North Central's recipe for academic rigor includes integration of core subjects to deepen understanding, inquiry-based project learning to show real-world relevance, assess student work in a holistic and comprehensive way, and empower the students to become self-reflective critical thinkers.
At 90 and 270, if you have a quarter moon, it shouldn't look like a crescent at all.
In 6th and 7th grades, core subjects are integrated. Math, science, and technology are team taught in one block, while language, arts, and humanities are taught in another.
Hi, my name is Salazar, and this is a project that we did. It's called Books of Hope.
In a cross-curricular arts and humanities project, 7th graders researched, wrote, and published books on their favorite subjects to ship to a sponsored school.
All the process that I took to make this book.
We taught them how to write nonfiction, and this took about a month and a half where they went through this writing process. The whole time we kept reminding them, why we're doing this and what these books are going to be used for, and we found that the kids were just incredibly motivated. They really, really latched on to this vision that we had, and they wanted to make them perfect because they knew the kids were going to be learning from them.
And I didn't want to focus on one specific culture because I thought it was better for people to relate to it if I made it like a lot of cultures.
We're a project-based school, so the students are asked to do things that are going to really challenge them to think critically.
And we have to revise it ourselves, and then we have to give it to the teacher.
It excites them, so they always talk about projects, and they're really excited to do them because of those relevant connections.
It's a good thing to do, like to do service, help other people, not because they tell you to. It's good because like you want to, and like for example, these books I really put effort on it. I didn't put a lot of effort for the grade. I put a lot of effort so the kids in Uganda could learn.
Okay, well, I need you to take out your rubrics quickly.
Yes Prep uses a variety of assessment tools to track student progress.
I wrote 3 sonnets.
The piece that we're working on is to make a literary analysis paper. So that was kind of the main assessment, but then we also had some creative outlets for them where they created their own sonnets, or a lot of people made poems or raps or, just visual representations just to show their artistic expression.
What means the world? Being lost for a guy or being lost for a girl? To the world, you just mean somebody, but to somebody, you mean the world.
To empower students to take charge of their own learning, the grading process is completely transparent. The students are given assessment rubrics at the beginning of each project, so the expectations are clear.
You can get a just beginning, which is you didn't put effort in it and you just slacked off during the whole time. Approaching is when you put some effort, but it's like she could tell you did it at the last minute. Meets is you met her expectations on what she wanted you to do. You did a very good job, and exceeds is you went above and beyond. Like you created something that she didn't even tell you to create. It's really easy to get exceed because you already know what's expected from you.
The other area I chose was environment.
Performance assessment is used in every grade, so by the time they reach high school, Yes Prep students are experienced presenters.
To have them actually verbally articulate their learning, I think is a hugely important skill, and one that our 7th graders, 6th graders really need to practice. So they feel sort of the importance of like, my parents are going to come and ask me questions, and other teachers are going to ask me questions. And so they tend to be a little more motivated about the project so that they're more prepared. Please just really give a lot of thought and introspection into this.
Each spring, all students must not only defend their knowledge of the core content, but prove that they are adding value to the school and the community.
Math has always taught me that there's always more ways to solve one problem, and I can relate that to life.
but they're asked to think critically about what they've learned, the skills that they've acquired, and then on top of that, we want them to think about themselves as people and how they've changed.
Comparing it to the beginning of the year, I think I've improved my communication.
Critical thinking is a key skill for college readiness, and every person in the building is working towards getting every student into college.
So you have to work a little harder.
Yeah.
And you do.
But the hard work is carried out with joy and passion.
With the school. It's serious and fun at the same time because we have awesome teachers who make class fun and put a whole bunch of work to the lessons and make sure you get it in your head and make sure that you have fun with it.
They prepare us for college, so like it's really hard. It's really hard. Like they're very challenging. I really like it because they really care about your education, and it's a good experience being in this.
For more information about what works in
Okay, I'm gonna, let's see, stop the share. I wanna see if I can change this where I can view. I don't know if I can view everybody there. Let's see if we can unmute people.
Yeah, if you want to be unmuted, just go down to the bottom left and it should unmute you.
Okay.
I
Okay,
think they-
if there's anything in there you'd like to provide back or any feedback, please do so. I can't really see y'all, but I think Michael might be able to see you better than I can.
No, I don't have any of those features on my section of it. And some people have been complaining about the audio and the video being choppy, and I think it just depends on everybody's connection because some people are fine, other people are noticing that. So just do your best.
Well, I also provide the links, and if it's better, just click on the link. Next, we have another video. There's a link right beside it. You just click on the link and watch it yourself. But if there's any feedback people want to provide, please do so on what you recognize in the video. What did you like? What did you see? What would you like to improve on your class, or what do you recognize that you do in your class or in your school?
And remember, you'll have to individually unmute it on your bottom left hand, or they can ask questions on the text on this is the TNCT website.
Yeah, or you can do it in the chat. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, do you have that chat pulled up?
I'm trying to get it pulled up right now.
Okay, good deal.
I really do miss, well, I don't miss the drive, but you know, last year in Chattanooga, at least you got to see people. It's not letting me do anything.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you earlier. I thought I'd have more abilities being a session helper or whatever, that they'd give me something to do in there. It wouldn't let me handle anything but my own stuff.
It's not giving me the chat.
Yeah, and there's no questions coming in through the chat, so I don't know if anybody's trying to do that or not. So.
Okay, so we'll just move on. So I'll keep moving on and go back to my. If there's anything you like, maybe you can just throw it in the chat, or anything you would like to continue with. So we'll just move on. So on the next, it'll let me move. Let's see. Okay, so it's just, what did you find interesting? You know, some of the things I found out, you know, they're constantly working on rigor. They're constantly trying to improve rigor. They want to, they're continually building. They're involving the students more in project-based type learning. So there's different things that they are doing in that. In the next one, we're going to do this video in classroom. There's the YouTube link there. I got someone calling me right now, so I'm not sure. I can't look at my phone right now, but the next video, just look at the type of questions she asks. You know, what is she talking about? What is she doing? Different things she's doing with her students. And just look at this video, you know, even if you can't provide feedback, at least you can ask questions to yourself. And then if we open up something in the future, hopefully we can continue with that. So let's just watch this video. And it may be choppy. If not, just copy it and paste it and watch it. And then we'll wait a couple of minutes after we're done to continue.
My name is Victoria Tyson. I teach here at School Without Walls. Today I'm going to be teaching AP World History to 10th graders, and we're going to look specifically at the U.S.'s policy post-World War II. The totalitarianism. We have those things going on. We ignore it for a while. There's always someone. Every class, there's somebody who you're just extremely proud of every day. There's someone who made a comment that's amazing. There's someone who has, offered to help out, offered to help a classmate. So I don't really have the days when I feel like this is hard to come back to. Good morning, everybody. Your warm-up on the board. Today we're going to look at the new policies that the U.S. has implemented after World War II, which are significantly different than the ones after World War I. Okay. First thing to do is to look at your Marshall Plan, and you and a partner find the most important sentence in that plan, the one that seems to outline for sure what the new policy is. To help the students who are more advanced, I include the primary documents. I also ask them to find the most important sentence. So what that does is it takes the most advanced students from just analyzing and summarizing to this right here is the one statement, and that causes them to then later be prepared when I ask them to evaluate it. So what is the U.S. trying to do? They're saying their efforts is to do what? Okay. Do you believe that?
Yes, they want to stop. When I read it, I feel like they wanted to stop communism. It's like, how before it started because there was a bang and some people revolted and it started away from communism. And this time they're trying to help them economically so that wouldn't happen again.
Okay. What happened after World War I? Why was Treaty of Versailles ends World War I, right? But then between World War I and World War II, there's something going on here that keeps us from getting too involved in Europe. What big economic event is going on here? Great Depression. Okay, keep that in mind. Today, when they were asked to work in groups, they're allowed to work with whomever they want to. But because I know their abilities, I go around and I ask questions that are appropriate for the different groups. So the students who struggle a little more, I'll start with something that is easy as what are the dates on the documents? And so if you have the same dates, probably the policies are going to be similar. And so the questioning varies based on the group. As I've walked around, I've asked you all different questions, right? Back here, they came to the Martine and Brooke, they came up with the notion that this appears to be bribing. What do we think? I need people to support them so that you're not all jumping on them at the same time. Okay, you two are going to support them? You all find evidence that this appears to be a bribe, and you all find evidence that says, no, that doesn't seem to be the case. It's just about X.
Exactly. So in exchange for that, the money for them to be on their side.
Okay, let's talk. Are we talking about $5? Let's talk about the amount of money we're talking here. Okay, you act like you're saying if I buy the large popcorn, it's not a given that I'm going to take care of dinner. Look at the amount of money you're talking about. When you get $400 million, are you expecting something?
Yes.
Unless you're just a good person. Do y'all have your evidence? Okay. They're going to give evidence. Oh, you need me? You're going to help them too? Okay. It seems like it has turned. We went from two people fighting everybody to them fighting y'all. So good luck with that. Like having them be in the smaller groups and then go out in the bigger groups and then come back. That's my way of allowing the students who are struggling a little bit to hear other perspectives so that when they go back into their groups, they feel a little bit more confident.
I see the bribe in the article, but I'm not understanding exactly what it is that they wanted in return.
Okay. Tell me what you see. Read something out that says, this is where I see the possible bribe. It's hard. We're going to break it down. Let it be broken. You need help?
I do.
Okay. Over here, Chris, what's the help?
It says if further funds or further authority should be needed for purposes indicated in this message,
I determine their learning levels by just, I mean, it sounds simple, but paying attention. What I do is I try to give them as many different types of assessments. And so I found, for example, this year that a lot of students know the content but struggle with multiple choice questions. And so we've been spending quite a bit of time on how to break them down and, you know, looking for buzzwords and keywords. So I don't think there's any one way to find learning level. So Adrian's saying it should be a worry if something is going on in Europe that's not ideal, right? And that we should help for a whole host of reasons, not just to be selfish, but sometimes people need help.
I think the selfish part's just kind of a bonus.
It's like sometimes you get a good feeling from doing good.
Yeah.
Okay, I buy that. Everybody have enough discussion to write a comparative thesis statement? Let's do it. Come on. You have 2 minutes to have a statement down. The biggest thing is that everyone should be prepared to go to the next level. And I believe that for some students, that means pushing them a little bit harder. That means augmenting the textbook for sure. That means allowing them to have a lot of conversation in class and dialogue so that I can see really where they are and that it's my responsibility to get them all prepared for college.
All right, we're gonna stop that right there, and I'm gonna change it up just a little bit. Okay. We're gonna let those, maybe if some other people weren't able to view everything like we're able to, they can go through. Okay, if you're back now, hopefully everyone's back. If you go to the poll, you go to video 2, question 1. Again, just provide any feedback on either one of the videos, anything you noticed about rigor, things that were obvious signs of rigor in the classroom. Was it the questioning? Was it the feedback? Look at those things. I'll give about a minute or two for people to type in, or maybe 3 minutes, and then we'll continue on. But if you can, go to the poll, go to, it should be on the poll, video 2, and question 1. Excuse me. Okay, some of the things I got, I see analyze and synthesize and group, working with students on different levels so that everyone, let's see if it'll let me click on that. I presented material. Michael, are you able to view this poll or view the results?
Yeah, I don't have the power to do anything. Like I'm not even seeing a poll in here. It's crazy.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Trying to see there's some more on here. If I can click on that. Questioning them, analyze what they read and comprehend. It's always very important. But there's different, questioning students is very important and getting their feedback. And there's so many different ways, you do have some students who, in the video, they seem to be more responsive and they definitely felt like they were comfortable in the classroom. I think that's one thing that was key to what we saw in both videos with the students felt comfortable. And a lot of times if students aren't participating in your classroom, maybe because they don't feel comfortable with you, comfortable responding. There's different ways to go around that. And I think that's, we're constantly focusing on questioning, but the environment of how students feel about what's going on in your classroom is more important probably than anything else, because if they don't feel comfortable, they're not going to feel comfortable to learn, and it's going to be a challenge. So, that's one of the things when teachers feel like they're challenged about having rigor in their classroom. You really got to think about your classroom environment in that setting. So let's keep moving forward, and I'll share my screen again. And I'm just going to click on this, and we'll just go to the next one. So we got some ideas of what. Sorry if I didn't go get all of your different inputs. I'm sure there's some great inputs out there. I'm just having a little technical difficulties, but that's just me and not y'all. So now what we want to do, let's do a self-reflection on yourself. Of course, this is just private. This is to yourself. How are you providing a rigorous learning environment? What are you doing? For me, it's always a challenge. You should never be satisfied with what you have. You should always be trying to improve. I think we know that. But, just think about what you're questioning. How are you questioning students? How are they responding? What's their feedback? One thing I like to do is not all students like to raise their hand and talk in class. So a lot of times I'll hand out Post-it notes and have them write down feedback on different things and post it on the board. That way you get feedback from all students and go over them and then compliment them on their feedback. Especially if there's some students that don't necessarily give feedback in class verbally, maybe it's more comfortable to give feedback on paper, and it gives you an idea that they're learning. It gives you that information. Grouping students is important. Are you putting them together? Are you pairing them up correctly? Students that can challenge each other, grow. What different activities are you doing? Are providing the classroom? And I think that's one thing we want to go over with today. It may not be until the next meeting, but we like to talk about, different activities students are going through. What are the different types of thinking? Do you talk about your students about, are they using critical thinking? Are they using analytical thinking? What type of thinking is involved? Is it included on the board? Today, we're going to use analytical thinking. We're going to do some critical thinking. Are you including those sort of things? What are your SMART goals? What SMART goals do you have for your students? I'm sure most of you out there have that. It's just, it doesn't hurt to refresh yourselves on this. And if you're new to the teaching profession, and there's always other criminal justice teachers you can reach out to that are willing to help you, or just maybe even teachers in your school that teach other subjects. So as we move on, we want to create a continuing and rigorous learning environment. I just want to repeat that I'm not an expert. This is something which is a continual learning process for me. I think a lot of things in the educational field are just continual learning processes that we're constantly going through, and especially now. Some of you, I know you're not returning to the classroom right away. You're going to be doing some online technology, and you may be struggling with that. I know I'm struggling today, that's obvious, but some of you, you're going to be, it's going to be a challenge. We're returning in a few weeks. I'm actually grateful for that. I'm excited to see the students. I never, sometimes you think, really? But yeah, I'm really excited to see all the students and see what they've been doing. And I'd like to get back in the teaching and being involved in lessons and seeing them grow. So the question is now is how to incorporate rigor. I got this from the International Center for Leadership and Education. You have different, Bloom's, Webb's depth. We're going to go over that later. You have these different charts or graphs that you see out there that really help you focus on that. And I think when I first started teaching, one of my problems was I focused on remembering, recall. I didn't really get too in depth. And now, I regret that for those students, but, fortunately over time I've grown and understand now that, my students need to be able to create and they need to be apply real world and unpredictable stuff. I mean, in the criminal justice field a year ago, I didn't think there'd be people out there protesting and say defund the police. But that's reality now. People want to defund the police. So we have to, think about those things. Are we preparing our kids for the unknown? What's going to be out there next? What's going to happen next year? We didn't think we'd be at home or have graduation with students 6 feet apart. But we know those things happen. So, and some of you didn't know you're going to be teaching online, teaching on computers. How are you going to adapt to that? What are you doing? So, it's just not incorporating rigor into the current classroom or the classrooms we did have. It's also incorporating into the digital classroom. And, what different ways? And some of y'all are probably, may have done this before. So you maybe have taught college online. How did you get students more involved? And that's one thing you can provide back to other students and or other teachers and help them develop it. And, we want to make sure we get the knowledge and application. And so as we incorporate this, as we design our lessons, it'll be in the next session as we focus in on that. And it'll be more, hopefully I can figure out how to I want to be able to see your faces. And I definitely want to be able to talk with y'all and get some feedback, have a little bit more discussion. That's one thing about this is I want to learn just as much from y'all as y'all see me presenting. I definitely could use a lot of information from y'all, some different lessons I can improve on. And so hopefully we'll be able to do that in the next session. But that's something we definitely want to focus in. I know I'm looking at, I understand we got about 7 minutes left in this session. So we'll continue on. I was going to do this poll, a little more challenging, but I just, maybe we can look at this, maybe Twig, if you can access this on the website. How will you be teaching this year? Let me see if I can go. How are you going to be teaching this year? Should be a poll in there on this.
Yeah, I've got it figured out now. Pam helped me out, so I understand what's going on now. Yeah.
So, but just a quick thing is think about how you're going to be teaching this year. How are you going to involve the kids more? So just, think about those things. How are you going to be teaching? What are you going to be doing? How are you going to be involving the kids in the different things? Is it going to be a return to normalcy? I don't think it's ever going to go back to where it was. Maybe it'll take several years. It may be possible, but what if there's another shutdown and you have to go online teaching? What are your preparations for that? Those are some challenging things, and those are some difficult things to get around. But I think most of you are talented and you're going to be able to do it. You're all talented in some way. Of course, you want to have the job, but you're all talented. But some of you are more talented in other ways than others. And there's definitely people who have certain talents in some areas and others in other areas. But how can you help others and how can they help you? And I think that's the main purpose of this is as we focus on rigor, you cannot get to rigor. I don't think you can get to rigor. You're going to need others. You're going to need to maybe go out and watch other teachers teach, see what they're doing. This is, we want to have a continual learning environment. And so on the next portion, we're going to talk about building a rigorous lesson plan, building rigorous lessons. That's what we want to focus in on next. We're going to talk about that in the next session. It's going to be on CJ1 and CJ2 if you're able to attend. If not, I would like to hopefully figure out more of y'all involved in this, speaking especially, or just typing out information. But just kind of reflect on what you do in your classroom. Hopefully some of the stuff we've done before, if you didn't have an idea what rigor is, hopefully you have a better idea. If you completely confuse you more, then just let me know and I'll point you to someone else who can help you out in that matter. But just it may be a struggle this year, but keep with it. Always, and especially if you're a first-year teacher, sometimes the first year is the worst. Second year, third year, it starts getting better. At any job, you get better, hopefully, at it. And hopefully you're all excited to see students, or at least be in contact with students soon. I know I am. I'm going to go ahead and give the word for this session. That way maybe I can get with my host and do a better job the next session and get more people involved. I've done Zoom before through Lipscomb, and it was a lot different from this, I guess because there's so many people attending, but we were more involved in doing different things. But the word is for this session is energetic. ENERGETIC. I'm not sure if I can put that in the chat. I'm going to try or provide it somewhere. Let me go up here. Give me hands up if you understood what I.
Yeah, I tried to post it in the room and it just locked up on me. So the word's energetic for session code FDNZ7. So sorry about that.
Yeah, it's ENERGETIC, energetic. Hope that wasn't an oxymoron for this session. I didn't bore you to death. Sorry about any technical issues. But definitely we're going to work on that and we're going to get it better in the next session. I definitely want to hear and see you. At least see you, hopefully, maybe, or hear you provide some different information and detail. Let me see if I can get to the chat to see if there's any questions. What's that? No, it's okay. Stop doing that, please. And that's my blank screen. And that's just, oh, here we go. I got something. Here, maybe can I type? I can't type. Oh well. Well, if you're not in the next session, I hope you have a great start to your school year. And I look forward to seeing you all later. Sometime in the school year, hopefully cross paths. And if I haven't met you, I hope to meet you soon. But best of luck on the start of your school year, wherever that may be.